Hey, Luukba here. Today we're diving deep into a character who's both a brilliant doctor and a devastating aerial combatant, Luuk Herssen. As the head physician of the Resonator Nursing Unit at Startorch Academy, he has no healing in his kit because why would he? This 5-star Spectral Gauntlet user has quickly become one of my favorite characters in Wuthering Waves due to his fast and fluid gameplay. His kit is all about mid-air aggression, building up his unique Ichor flow to enter the powerful Aureate Judge state. In this guide, we're going to cover everything you need to know to master him. We'll start with his playstyle and how to generate Ichor flow, then break down his abilities, his best weapons, echo sets, team compositions, and finally, his resonance chains. We'll also talk about rotations and how to get the most out of his unique tune strain mechanics. By the end, you'll be weaving through the skies like a true physician of destruction. First, let's talk base stats. Luuk is a standard attack scaling DPS with crit rates and attack bonus traces. He's not particularly tanky, so you'll need to rely on his mid-air mobility to stay alive. When it comes to leveling priority, you'll want to prioritize his resonance skill and liberation first, as it makes up most of his damage. After that, his basic attack for additional damage. Then his Forte for more multipliers. His intro can be skipped to save on resources, but it is more damage. Now let's get into the core loop. How Luuk generates Ichor flow and enters the Aureate Judge state, which provides him with increased multipliers. Luuk builds Ichor flow by executing his basic attack combos, heavy attacks, resonance skills, and even successful dodges. Think of it as his momentum meter. But the main and easiest way to max his Ichor is simply by introing into him. Once it's full, you can trigger Aureate Judge, which supercharges his enhanced resonance skills. Another huge part of Luuk's self buffs comes from the Tune Strain mechanic. A few of his attacks inflict Tune Strain shifting, which debuffs enemies. This also means Luuk benefits massively from characters who can apply or increase the efficiency of Tune Strain, like Lahai and Mornier. We'll dive deeper into team building later, but just know that maintaining Tune Strain is the key to unlocking Luuk's true potential. Let's break down his actual skills. Luuk's basic attack chain is a 4-hit combo on the ground, but his real strength is in the air. After a heavy attack or a jump, he unlocks his mid-air attacks, a 3-hit chain with a descending 4th hit. Importantly, you can mix things up here with the 2nd and 3rd hits of his combo. Pressing normal attack performs Scythe Dissection, while pressing jump performs Scythe Resection. The normal attack variant has good single target tracking and creates some distance, while the jump variant applies Tune Strain, has some AoE, gives brief damage resistance, and is a bit faster. So generally, I'd recommend the jump variant, although I do find myself using the normal variant if the enemy suddenly moves away, or if the enemy uses a close range attack that I need to get away from. His resonance skill is called Reunion of All the Fallen, and it is an entire buffet. His standard resonance skill, Golden Reflux, is a 2-charge dash attack that can be used both on the ground and in the air. It inflicts Tune Strain shifting and deals good damage, but most importantly, pretty much teleports you onto the target. It's good for staying on target and overworld traversal. Plus, you get a free skill that replaces your normal attack after each enhanced skill, and this version of the skill is called Golden Impale, despite functionally being the same as Golden Reflux. The key difference is that Golden Impale resets Luuk's mid-air normal sequence, making him able to remain airborne for longer. The enhanced skill, Aureate of Execution, is the real star of his kit. It replaces his resonance skill after inputting mid-air attack stage 3, space or normal attack version. It comes in 3 variants that come in succession: Ring, Breach, and Glare. Ring is a standard burst of damage with a very tiny AoE. Breach is a charge that can pick up small enemies and weakly group them. And Glare summons a massive Ichor deposit and deals large AoE damage. After using Glare, your normal attack will be replaced with Gavel of the Earthshaker, which slams down, shattering the Ichor deposits, and deals another huge hit of AoE damage. Note, angling Breach correctly can result in better grouping, and staggering Glare and Gavel can result in multi-wave clears in modes like Wuthering Waves. Luuk's Forte, Spark from the Frost, is what ties everything together. As he generates Ichor flow, his Forte gauge fills up. When full, casting his Resonance skill consumes 100 Ichor flow to enter Aureate Judge. In this state, enhanced skills gain 110% motion value. A defensive passive, Dawnlit Keep, is also built into his Forte, allowing you to take one hit of damage at 60% damage resistance with immunity to interruption. It's not much, but it's one get out of jail free card, because you really don't want to be interrupted in the air. Wanderer mains in Genshin will know. If you lose your 1 stack of Dawnlit Keep, you still have 3 stacks of Radiant Reave that can keep you in the air as long as you dodge when you're falling. Do note, Luuk's stamina does not regenerate when he's in the air, so make sure to manage his dodges wisely. The final effect in his Forte is Ichor Blade. When Luuk performs an air dodge, a spinning disc will be hurled at the nearest target, and stay on them for a few seconds. This blade doesn't do much damage, but it is exceptional at building up Toon Break and possibly stun locking enemies. There are also dodge cancels you can perform in Luuk's standard rotation that maximizes Ichor Blade's uptime that I'll go over in the rotation section. As a final note, when breaking his Ichor deposit, Luuk will recover all of his stamina. So if you're running low on his stamina near the end of your rotation, don't worry, because it will be fully restored when he uses Gavel. Finally, his Resonance Liberation, rewritten in Winter's Margins. Arguably the simplest part of his kit. It is just a devastating AoE nuke that gets more powerful as you do more enhanced skills. The 3 dots under his liberation icon indicate how many stacks of this buff, called Endnotes on the Endgame, Luuk has. And each stack gives 25% motion value, totaling 75%. His burst makes up nearly half of his damage in a rotation, so it's important to use it at the end and make sure your support buffs are still up. His inherent skills all have to do with his Toon Strain mechanic. The first one essentially makes it so you don't have to worry about when to pop Toon Break to maximize Luuk's buffs and debuffs. The second one gives him a 10 times ramping 5% damage amp for hitting targets affected by Toon Strain, up to 30%. He also gets a 25% damage buff for teammates applying Toon Strain. On the topic of Toon Strain, Luuk utilizes Toon Strain Interference to get up to 24% vulnerability on his targets when paired with Linne. In a typical fight, about most of his damage comes from his enhanced skills and liberation. His ideal rotation will look something like this. Start with your supports to set up buffs and apply Toon Strain. Swap to Luuk and immediately go airborne. Execute your mid-air attack chain. N1, jump 2, jump 3, enhance skill, enhance basic, N1, jump 2, jump 3, enhance skill, enhance basic, N1, jump 2, jump 3, enhance skill, enhance basic. At any point in this combo, if you feel you're getting too far from the target, you can use the regular skill to close the gap. Finally, end the rotation with his Resonance Liberation. Now to ensure the buff uptime, we can tighten rotations by using dash cancels after each enhanced basic. It takes practice, but once you get the rhythm down, it's incredibly satisfying. Now let's look at Luuk's Resonance Chain. His first sequence gives him an 150% damage buff when airborne, and refreshes his interruption to resistance when he uses an enhanced skill. The stack limit for his immunity to interruption and damage reduction is also increased by 1, now capping at 2. Overall, a nice comfort pick that makes staying in air a lot less stressful. His S2 adds 60% more motion value to his liberation and 30% more amp from his Toon Strain talent. S3 is a big one. increasing his enhanced skill motion value by an additional 136%, and front-loading his Tune Strain application to reach his 60% amp and 24% vulnerability from his Forte faster. S4 is a minor upgrade, granting a 20% team-wide damage buff after Tune Break. S5 is also just rounding out his kit, giving 80% more damage to his intro and outro, as well as 50% more motion value on his regular skills, along with a 2-second cooldown reduction and 1 more charge, adding up to 3 regular skills in total. Finally, the S6 grants a 30% damage bonus to his enhanced skills and midair basic. His liberation stacks, and notes on the endgame, now also come with a 40% damage bonus per stack, up to 120% at 3 stacks. His Tune Strain interfered stacks is also raised by 2, making his vulnerability reach 24% without Lahai and up to 36% with Lahai. This is a massive buff, fitting for the S6. For my simulations, S2, S3, and S6 are the major damage breakpoints, with S1 being an alright comfort pick. But don't feel forced to spend money on this game, he is complete and very strong at S0. Now let's talk about gearing, starting with weapons. His signature 5-star gauntlet, Daybreaker Spine, is a standard SIG, being around 15% better than the next best option. Definitely the best first vertical investment choice to make. It provides 24.3% crit rates, 12% attack, 20% spectral damage bonus, 20% basic attack damage, and 10% defense ignore with basic attacks. The SIG gives you a good idea on what type of stats Luuk likes. According to my calculations, 89% of his damage is from basic attacks, which makes sense as nearly everything in his kit, from his skill to liberation, counts as basic attack damage. If you don't have his signature, the standard 5-star Pulsation Bracers is an excellent alternative. It gives a hefty 48.6% crit damage, 12% attack, and 24% basic attack damage. Here's the exact weapon ranking on screen right now, courtesy of Prydwen. For Echoes, the undisputed best set for Luuk is the 5-star Rite of Gilded Revelation. It directly synergizes with his spectral damage and basic attack heavy playstyle. The 2-piece gives a standard 10% spectral damage bonus, and the 5-piece gives him a 3 times 10% stacking spectral damage bonus that culminates into a massive 40% basic attack damage boost after using his liberation. So 40% spectral damage and 40% basic attack damage. Pretty juicy. Your main Echo should be the Twin Nova Nebulous Cannon. This Echo provides a 12% spectral damage and 12% basic attack damage bonus, which is exactly what Luuk wants. The active ability can mostly be ignored. Time for the main stats. Since Luuk scales almost entirely on attack and basic attack damage, your stat priority is pretty straightforward. For 4-cost Echo, aim for crit rate or crit damage, whichever one you need more to get the 1-to-2 ratio after buffs. 3-star Echo, go for spectral damage bonus. And for 1-star Echo, go for attack percent. For substats, energy recharge until comfortable is most important, as his burst is a really significant part of his damage and you want it up every rotation. Then crit rate is equal to crit damage, basic attack damage is equal to attack percent, and lastly, flat attack. You'll want to aim for around 65 to 80% crit rate, as much crit damage as you can, with a goal of above 200%, and comfortably around 125% energy recharge. Now, teams. Luuk thrives with teammates who can apply Tune Strain consistently, trigger Tune Break faster, or buff his basic attack damage. The premium team right now is Luuk, Lahai, and Mornier. Lahai excels at applying Tune Strain and provides strong damage amplification, while Mornier increases Tune Break efficiency to give Luuk access to his buffs at the start of his rotation. Shorekeeper is also a very consistent and strong pick, and while we don't know that much about her yet, it's possible that Denya could replace Lahai and be Luuk's new best in slot. We theorize this based on the fact that Lahai doesn't fully activate all of Luuk's buffs in his kit, and Lahai's liberation damage bonus does mostly go wasted on Luuk's basic attack damage heavy kit. So along with the new support set that released in 4.3, it is heavily speculated that Denya could be a new best in slot for Luuk. For a budget option, you can run Luuk, Sanhua, and Verena, or really any healer. Sanhua provides a strong basic attack damage buff on her outro, and helps out with energy and rotation length, really demonstrating why she and Mortefi are the 4-star GOATs of Wuwa. Before we go, a few final tips. Remember to stay airborne as much as possible. Luuk's mid-air combos are his lifeblood. Practice the input sequence on his mid-air rotation and get comfortable with pulling it off with muscle memory. And always be aware of your tune strain timer and buff timers. You want to race to cash in that liberation while these buffs are still up. Luuk Herssen is a phenomenal high-skilled ceiling DPS who rewards mastery and skill expression. He's undoubtedly one of the best low-investment DPSs in Wuthering Waves, as the standard banner gauntlet and 4 stars or free teammates are perfect for him. And if you enjoy a graceful air combo playstyle with massive payoff, he's absolutely worth the pull. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. If this guy helped you, be sure to like and subscribe and share it to anyone who might need it. Let me know in the comments what other character guides you'd like to see, and as always, have a guoba day.